Over to you, Asma. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. I am Asma, an executive member at Hive Medical Academy. Today, we are here to address all your concerns about PLAB and will discuss how to tackle PLAB exam with confidence, understand the exam format, and learn what examiners are looking for. So please stay tuned and stay with us till the end. We are honored to have Dr. Malik and Dr. Umar with us. Before I hand over a mic to our speakers, I would love where are you joining us from? Please mention your country in comment box. And we are waiting for a few more participants to join, and then we will start our session shortly. Also, if you have any question, feel free to drop in comments. We will answer you at the end of this session. I request if you have any question, feel free to drop in comments. We will answer you at the end of the session. Maybe this will be longer now. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. The next voice you will hear is our from most respected academic lead and our PLAB tutor, Dr. Umar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Asma. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this bright and breezy Saturday morning in Manchester. Today, we are going to be discussing a few things on our agenda. So we'll be speaking about the usual stuff regarding the PLAB pathway, available support solutions. But today, we're going to have a slightly different angle to our discussion, and we're going to be speaking about study plans, study resources, how to kind of stay motivated and manage your studies better. So what I'm just going to do is, if you'll just bear with me for a second, I'm just going to share my screen so that my presentation is available. Okay, Asma or Dr. Shakil or anyone, can you just confirm that my screen is visible and the presentation is within the screen?
Yeah, we could see you. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yes, sir,
brilliant.
it's perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. So, as I mentioned, today we're going to be discussing the PLAB pathway, support solutions. We're going to be discussing study plan and the importance of a well-balanced preparation, focusing on well-being as well as, of course, effective study. We're going to be speaking about resources. What are the different options available to people who are looking at or interested in sitting their PLAB exams? What are the different approaches? What we think is best, and we'll also be looking at a little bit of evidence as well to hopefully give you guys some guidance on how best to approach your PLAB exams. And then finally, thinking about things like how to stay motivated and how to manage various aspects of your life and study fatigue and these kind of things. Okay, so the first slide is where we actually look at, do I actually really need to plan my studies? Excuse me. So the first point I want to mention here is that there's a very famous English saying which says, don't teach grandmothers to suck eggs. Now, what this means is all of you guys are medics, you're medical students, you're doctors, you already know how to study. Of course, if that wasn't the case, then you wouldn't be in the position you are in today. You wouldn't have passed all of them exams that you have already done really well in, and you wouldn't have reached the stage of your career that you are at today. So what we're talking about is not teaching you how to study, but it's how to ensure that you are making sure that the studies that you actually, preparation that you actually do is focused, it's efficient, it's actually if it's well balanced, and that you can improve, because the reality is that none of us are perfect at anything, and there's always room for improvement. So this is a very, very old saying. Grandmothers used to actually eat eggs raw, and they used to suck the eggs, and so this developed into a saying about don't teach grandmothers how to suck eggs. So let's move on. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So there's no doubt whatsoever that if you don't plan something, then the likelihood of you not actually being successful, or being inefficient, or being quite poor in what you actually engage in is going to be quite high. So just before we get into the actual details of PLAB and all of the kind of things that we're going to discuss today, I just want to tell you a quick story about British cycling. So British cycling historically, more than 20 years ago, was very, very poor. It was so poor that even the sponsors, even the makers of the famous bikes, didn't want their bikes to be used by the British cycling team because they never won anything. They weren't very good. They participated in all the competitions, but they just weren't actually that successful. In fact, in 75 years of Olympic competition, they had only won 1 gold medal. That's how poor they were. This was the case until the early 2000s, when a gentleman called Sir David Brailsford took over. David Brailsford was quite unknown up until that time. But he came in and he revolutionized British cycling. In fact, so much so that the changes he put into place for the athletes, the teams, the bikes, and all of their preparation actually resulted in them totally dominating the next 2 Olympic Games. So they started in around about the early 2000s, I think. And what Sir David Brailsford did was he brought in a concept called marginal gains. Now, what this meant was they took every single process, every single part of the process of their cycling, whether it was the bike itself. So they dismantled the bike. They looked at what are the improvements that we can make in every single part of the bike: the seat, the frame, the tires, the suits, the aerodynamic suits that the athletes would wear, and then looking at their training regimes. What were they doing? How were they doing it? Making very, very small improvements in all of the areas, even to the extent that they started looking at things like the pillows that they used while they were competing, ensuring that they took their favorite pillows on with them when they were competing, when they were on tour, making sure they were washing their hands properly. They took consultation from medics and surgeons on hand washing so that they would become less ill during their preparation. All of these small changes in every single area of their life and their competition. And lo and behold, what happened is all of these small changes added up, and over time, over the coming years, they actually started to not just dominate, but absolutely destroy the competition that they were competing against. So much so that people actually couldn't believe that this was the same British cycling team, and also that there wasn't any drugs involved, or they weren't cheating or anything like this. This is a very famous story in sport, how British cycling went from being at the very bottom of the pile to in the London Olympics and then even the Beijing Olympics, totally dominating all of the competitions, no matter how far the distance, no matter what type of cycling competition it was. So what can we learn from what Sir David Brailsford did with marginal gains, and what can we take forward from that into any aspect of our life? And obviously today we're talking about studying. The learning point is that you can do something well, you can do something poorly, you can do something with mediocrity, for sure. However, if you take a look at the whole process, if you take a look at everything holistically, everything in your life. So when we're thinking about studying, we're not just talking about the studying, but how much rest are you getting? How are you eating? Are you exercising? And the studies that you're doing, what kind of resources are you actually using? What kind of techniques are you using to memorize things? How could these be improved? And if you make small changes, I've put on the next point the 1% rule. If you make small changes in every single area, stay consistent and stay disciplined with these changes, you will notice a tremendous difference in not only how you feel in yourself, in your health, your well-being, how switched on and how efficient you feel with your studies, but of course the success of that will become clear later on, and hopefully in the exams that you are going to be sitting over the coming months and over the next year or so. So that's British cycling. 1% rule is a very, very similar thing. If you're trying to improve something, try to improve it by 1% one day or 1 week, and then 1% the next day or the next week. And initially, it will feel like I'm not doing much, nothing's happening, but over time, you will notice that the changes and the improvements are actually dramatic. The final point here about planning is that you can plan well and you can plan poorly, of course. So it's not just about planning. It's not just about ensuring that you do plan. Obviously, doing some planning is better than doing no planning at all, but you can plan well and you can plan poorly, and hopefully we'll discuss that over the coming slides. So what are the key elements to ensuring that your study plan is giving you the best chance of success? The number one point is balance. Whenever you do anything, whether it's studying, whether it's exercising, whether it's working, whatever, the key to success is balance, because you cannot sit at your desk for 8 to 10 hours a day, try to, or spend all night trying to cram things without looking after every other aspect of your life. So balance is key. We'll look at this in a little bit more detail when we have a quick glance at a sample timetable in a couple of slides' time. The second point is practice. So studying, of course, means learning concepts, revising concepts, and trying to apply the knowledge that you've gained, but you need to practice. Practice is really important. Regular practice of questions, mock tests, or practice OSCEs. If we're talking about PLAB 2, practice is extremely important. We've already spoken about balance, but regular breaks is really important. All of the evidence about studying, all of the evidence base suggests that if you study for 25 to 50 minutes, then take a short 10 to 15 minutes break, that is significantly better for you than for you to sit down for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time and try to really kind of have a deep dive into what you're doing without any breaks at all. This is well known, it's well established in the literature. It's called the Pomodoro technique. The name doesn't really matter. Most of you guys will be familiar with this by now, but it's really important to ensure that the regular breaks actually allow you to consolidate the knowledge that you have, the things that you have just been looking at. Even if we go further than that, there's lots and lots of evidence that even having a nap is fantastic. Sleep is our superpower, and it allows us to actually embed what we have been doing. It allows everything to be placed in our memory. So if that's possible, that would be even better. Regular reviews. What does this mean? This means that if you have covered a topic before, then you should be covering it again very quickly, either a week later or a couple of weeks later. And this needs to be done consistently and regularly to ensure, because modern day life is so busy, it's so hectic, we're always juggling multiple things at once, and so we can only soak up so much information and retain it. So we have to keep topping up our memory to ensure that it's all being stored and will be ready for exam time. Rest, sleep, and exercise. Obviously, we've mentioned some of these things already. If you're not rested, if you've not slept well, if you're not exercising regularly, then you are really going to be inefficient in your studies, in your revision, and that is going to reflect poorly on exam day, and unfortunately, it's going to reflect poorly in your results as well. So we've mentioned well-being, we've touched on it a little bit already, but a few important things, which again, it might seem simple, but it's extremely important because of, as we've said, how busy we are, how hectic life is. We're doing so many things at once. We're so distracted by everything. You really need to have a few key practices on a daily basis that will ensure that you are in the best state possible to be preparing for your exam. So number one is exercising daily. This is absolutely essential. I cannot stress this enough. This could be a walk. This could be an intense cardio session. It could be yoga. It could be whatever it is. Could be a competitive sport. It doesn't matter. You need to be moving physically and raising your heart rate on a daily basis. You need to eat well. Hopefully this is not, again, this is preaching to the converted, hopefully, because you're all medics, you're all doctors, but looking after your nutrition, ensuring it's a healthy, well-balanced diet. At the end of the day, your brain is the organ that's going to be doing all of this studying for you. If it's not well looked after, it's not going to function well. It's as simple as that. Digital detox. This is extremely important. Our phones are constantly distracting us on not a daily basis, on a second to minute basis. There's always notifications. There's always something going on. All of these apps and all of these things and all of these people as well are trying to grab your attention. So it's quite simple. We need to reduce the amount of time we spend on devices. We need to reduce the amount of time that we spend on the internet, watching Netflix, etc., whatever it may be. It's quite simple. If you're about to do something and you need to be focused, you need to give all your attention to this task. You need to either turn your phone off or you need to put it into do not disturb mode. Otherwise, it's really easy to every few minutes just glance at your phone and get that dopamine hit that it gives you, and it's going to distract you from what you're actually doing. Support is extremely important. Obviously, this could mean this could mean a whole host of things. This could mean emotional support and having support from your loved ones, your family, your spouse, your partner, whatever, but it also means support from your peers, support from people who are going through the same things as you, they're going through the same journey as you, the same difficulties as you. Having that network is extremely important to get you through the difficult times that you will be experiencing and the challenging times that will come over the coming months. And the final point on well-being is mindfulness. Now, this is a relatively new concept, but this is actually something that has been around for a very, very long time. It's as old as the human race itself. Of course, whether you are religious, whether you are a spiritual person or not, this could mean a whole host of different things. If you're a religious, spiritual person, mindfulness could be prayer, it could be some other spiritual practice. If you are not a religious person, then it could just be the more kind of modern take on mindfulness and meditation. But these things are really important. It's very important to experience silence because, as I've said already, we're constantly being bombarded, sensory bombardment from everything, visually, sound, your phones, screens, everything is constantly trying to grab our attention. Even just 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening, just to sit in silence, just to allow your brain to have some rest and to kind of put down the pathways that are essential for what you have been covering during that day. Let's move on. Okay, so this is just an example of a sample timetable. Now, this, of course, some of you guys will be studying full-time, some will be studying part-time, but it's just an example just to illustrate what we mean by a balanced timetable and what we mean by regular breaks. So 8 o'clock start, that's quite late in my opinion. I prefer to be an early riser, but not everyone is like that. So first thing in the morning, bit of exercise before breakfast, having a nice, nutritious, healthy breakfast. Then we can move on to some deep, focused work. Some people do it better later in the evening or later on in the night. Of course, that's fine. But it's all about maximizing what you think your strengths are. The human body is amazing, and if we actually, if we do things for 2, 3, 4 days in a row, before you know it, your body clock has switched. You become an early riser. You feel tired late at night, and the night is for sleep. The day is for waking. That's the way our circadian rhythm works. That's the way we perform best. So personally, I prefer to do intense focus work in the morning, but of course, that depends on your preferences and how you feel is best for you. But focus study, so something like testing yourself with flashcards, and summarizing key concepts from memory. Then after that, you should have a short break. Just 15 minutes is enough. Then move on to something different, some practice questions, maybe reviewing some notes. Have some lunch around lunchtime, a bit of relaxation time for an hour and a half or so. And then in the afternoon, you can do some, again, some different activities. So it's all about changing things up, perhaps some group study. Then in the late afternoon, we have workout or some kind of outdoor activity, a little bit more light study and revision before dinner in the evening. And then, if you're doing this, if you're doing this full time and you have the whole day, obviously, then you can, do a little bit of a mock test later on, and then between 9:30, 10:30, start to wind down and start to be prepared for a good night's sleep. So what, in general, are the key ingredients for success in my opinion, in a study plan or in studying for, for something, for some kind of exam, something that's 3, 4, 5, 6 months away. The most important thing is consistency. You have to be consistent, not perfect, just consistent. It's okay to sometimes, you don't have to stick to this kind of timetable all day, every day. There will be days where you feel more motivated. There will be days when you feel less motivated. And motivation is an emotion. So, it will go up and down. But the key is to be consistent. And the most difficult thing to do is to do things on the days when you don't want to do them. But that's when when you'll get the most benefit for just making sure that you are being consistent. You're not going to be perfect. There will be times when you slip and things go a bit awry, but it's okay. Just get back on track and move forward and carry on. Second thing is listen to your body and what your body is saying. If you're feeling extremely tired and drained, that means either you're doing too much or you're not getting enough sleep or you're exercising too much. Your body's trying to tell you something. You have to listen to it, and then you have to adjust as needed. You have to adjust the intensity. You might need to adjust the timetable. Of course, there's lots of other things we have to do. Some of you guys will be working. Some of you guys will have family commitments. You need to participate in social occasions, all of these kind of things. So being flexible and adjusting things as needed is extremely important. We already mentioned that motivation is an emotion, really, and so how do you maintain motivation? What you have to do is you have to set yourself a target. So I'm going to cover these areas of the curriculum. Once I've done that, then I'm going to reward myself with, I'm going to go out with my friends and watch a movie, or go out with my partner and have a nice meal, or whatever it might be, whatever it is that some kind of enjoyable activity. And you have to do that regularly throughout the months that you'll be engaged in your study. And the final thing is you have to look after your mental health. You have to be self-aware. You have to be aware of how you are feeling. You have to be able to, if you are feeling, stressed or worried or down, then it's something that you do need to be aware of, and you need to speak to somebody. You need to have a conversation and have a discussion about what's going on. Let's move on now to resources and the possible approaches to studying for the PLAB exam. So I was having to think about this over the last few days, and of course this is based on not just my experience, but the experience of the academy and all of the team members. And this is how people tend to approach the PLAB exams. So you have the organized approach, you have a scattergun approach, which is, so organized is, of course, you know exactly, either you've been provided with the resources, or you know exactly what the curriculum is, you know what you need to study, you've planned everything, and you know what you're going to be doing over the coming weeks and months. Scattergun approach is you're not really sure, and you're being exposed to lots of different resources, lots of different platforms, WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, questions coming from here, a study group over here. You're trying to access certain types of resources. You're not sure which one's reliable. You're not sure which one's up to date, etc., etc. So they are two ends of the spectrum. Then we have the purely individual approach versus an academy or a training program. So the individual one is, okay, where you feel I don't need any help, mentorship, guidance. I'm going to do this myself. And then you have an academy or training program approach where you actually join a course or an academy or a training program, and it's you receive structure and guidance. And you're not going to be surprised that obviously I'm going to be advocating for the organized approach where you are enrolled in a training program or you're with an academy. But let's have a little bit of a deeper think as to what are the pros and cons of these approaches, and we can have a quick look at some evidence as well. So if you think about a scattergun approach, what are you going to get? You're going to get a lack of structure. There's going to be stress. There's going to be lots of uncertainty. There's definitely going to be knowledge gaps, and there's going to be inefficiencies in how you are actually approaching the material, how you are studying it, and it's not going to result in a very kind of organized or coherent method of covering everything. In an organized approach, you will get coverage of all areas. And if you set up a study plan, you'll get better retention because you're actually doing things in the correct way. You're having a balanced approach. You're balancing study with relaxation time, study with exercise, study with social activities, etc. And you're actually doing things that are designed to improve your things like your retention, and you're going to feel more confident. You're going to feel less stressed and more confident about tackling the actual exam. If we think about individual versus the academy approach, with the purely individual approach, obviously we're not saying that that you're not going to have to do some individual study. Of course, this is these are adult postgraduate exams. There's lots of self-study. But we're talking about a purely individual approach versus actually being part of a course or a training program or an academy. With the purely individual approach, you get lots of flexibility. Nobody's going to be checking up on you. Nobody's going to be telling you what to do. But there's much, much higher chances of errors, using the incorrect resources, misinformation, not being certain, hearing from so-and-so that this is what we need to do, hearing from so-and-so that this is what we need to do, or that this is no longer part of the curriculum, but this is. Now the exam has changed. It's no longer PLAB, it's UKMLA. There's going to be lots of confusion. What do you get with an academy or a training program or a fully prepared course? You get a guided framework. You get everything in terms of the curriculum being prepared, being ready for you, and you'll get help with a study plan. You will get expert insight from, and this is really important. We feel that you will get expert insight from people who have actually worked in the healthcare system where you are trying to get a job. With all due respect, if you haven't worked in the NHS, how much can you possibly teach someone about the NHS, about how things work, about UK guidelines, etc. There will be, of course, the academic side of things will be deliverable to a certain extent, but there are certain parts of the curriculum which are not academic, which are not written down in a document, which are about healthcare culture, which are about nuances of communication, which are about how what are the principles and ethics of how you practice medicine in the UK. So there are lots of things that you won't get unless you actually get insight and advice from experts, people who've examined, people who've worked in these actual areas. And then, of course, peer support, being surrounded with your peers, people who are going through, we've mentioned this already, going through the same kind of journey, the same difficulties. This is really beneficial. So before we actually come on to the PLAB pathway, I just wanted to touch a little bit on this because I think this is really, really important. Is there actually any evidence for what I'm saying? We all know about evidence-based medicine. We all know that, you can't just make claims about things without actually backing them up. So let's have a look at just a few examples of some evidence on some of the things we've been speaking about. So in the Journal of Medical Education 2023, there was a study on medical licensing exams. What that study found was candidates who followed structured plans scored 15 to 20% higher than those with a random study pattern. 15 to 20%, guys, is quite significant. In the British Medical Journal in 2022, of course, very, very prestigious journal, surveys indicated that PLAB candidates who are enrolled in structured programs, so that's academies, training courses, who are enrolled somewhere in a program with support, framework, mentorship, etc., had a 30% higher pass rate compared to self-studiers, 30% higher. So, 1/3 of the people did better on the actual exams, or obviously we don't have all the granular detail here. We can have a look at these, or I can provide the references for these. You can have a look at these yourself, but these are quite significant numbers. What else? In 2022, in the Medical Learning and Retention Journal, research demonstrated that students who followed an organized study plan using things like active recall techniques retained 40% more information over 3 months compared to those with unstructured revision. Because some of these percentages, they're absolutely massive. The results are actually quite significant. The final one is in the International Journal of Medical Studies in 2021. This is more relevant to probably PLAB 2 than PLAB 1, but still relevant to us. A 2021 study found that students who participated in regular peer-led study sessions or in study sessions with other people improved their problem-solving skills and retention rates by 25%. These are just a few examples. There are lots more. You can have a look at this stuff yourself. It's freely available. There's lots and lots of evidence that structure, the involvement of other people, mentorship, guidance, peers, and on all of these things, tackling things as as part of a structured program rather than individually is much, much more likely to result in success. So that's a few things about, obviously, it's, we only have a short webinar. We can't cover, lots and lots of detail, just a few of the main points that we think are relevant to the kind of agenda for today. So I'm just going to spend just a few minutes on what are our solutions to the PLAB challenge, and speak a little bit about that for the next few minutes before handing over back to the team to deal with any questions that might be there. So we've been around for quite a long time now. We have a comprehensive set of resources that are meticulously prepared and updated regularly to the requirements of the UKMLA/PLAB blueprint. One of our unique features, I would say, is our ability to customize. So we have people approaching us all the time saying things like, I've only got 1 month to prepare for my PLAB 1 exam. Can we do it? And we have, and we continue to do that. So whether you need, whether you're like myself and you like to plan and organize things well in advance, or you're a little bit of a last minute kind of person, work under pressure, whatever it is, we can help you. Our resources, as I've mentioned, they're up to date. They're in line with current guidelines, NICE, GMC guidance, etc. Whatever teaching or learning style you need, we've got it covered. Our learning management system, which I mentioned in the bottom bullet point, we have audios, we have videos, we have mock exams, we have a database of 5,000 MCQs, we have flashcards. So all of the kind of different learning styles are covered. Excuse me. And what's most important, I feel, apart from all of these things, of course, resources are important, but we have a team who are available whenever you need for whatever you need. support will be there from the first thoughts that you have of trying to venture into a career in the UK, and we can be there for you all the way throughout, even after you have been in the UK for a long time. So what makes us different to everybody else? There are lots of academies out there. There are lots of people who do courses for PLAB 1, PLAB 2. And, you know, lots of people doing really good work. We would never dream of, you know, kind of putting anybody else down. But what makes us different? We're a very personal academy. It's all about what you need. You're at the center of everything that we do. You feel free to speak to our current students. They will tell you that what their experience has been like. Myself and Dr. Shakil, it's our stories and our experiences that drive us, and that drives the kind of culture of the academy. We are so accessible, I think sometimes maybe too accessible, but that's the way we are. We're always available for anybody who needs help, advice, guidance through any part of their journey. Constantly trying to improve, constantly trying to do things better and update things, and obviously to very high standards. But I think the one of our biggest strengths is doing what other people don't, and filling in the gaps in that journey from your home country to the UK, and I'll mention that briefly in the next slide. So just to recap, what is the journey of an international medical graduate to the UK? So first and foremost, you need to be a medical graduate with either an MBBS or an MBCHB or an MD or some, you know, or equivalent medical degree. You then need to pass either the IELTS or the OET with sufficient scores as required by the GMC. Then after that, you need to pass PLAB 1. After that, you need to pass PLAB 2. And then this is where things get a little bit quiet in other places, other providers, other academies. This is where really Hive comes to life. After that, what do you need to do? You need to ensure a clinical attachment. You need to ensure that you get experience of the environment that you're going to be working. You immerse yourself in the NHS, you get an induction, you get an idea of culture, you get an idea of colleagues, workplace, etc. Of course, then GMC registration, lots of documents and things need to be filled and processes, and then after that, you need to secure a job. So these are all the steps that you need to take. So this next part is just going to illustrate. These are the areas that other providers don't really cover as well as us. So IELTS to OET, we actually do that. Clinical attachment, we do that too. Help with your GMC registration and your license, we do that also. And we will also help you secure a job. So as you can see, we're not, of course, we can't help you with your medical degree. Sorry about that. You have to do that on your own. But every other part of the journey, and of course, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2 is not highlighted, but of course, we do that also. So final thing I'm going to mention to you guys about us is our Global Medics NHS program. Essentially, just imagine, I don't want to have to bore you guys with lots of detail and bells and whistles about what it actually does. Just think about this slide. Okay, apart from being a medical graduate, every other step of that journey and more will be covered in the GMNP, in the Global Medics NHS program. It's highly personalized. The eligibility is that you need to either be a final year medical student or a medical graduate at any stage of your career. It's a one-year program. It's highly structured. Of course, that's what I've been speaking about the whole webinar, but there's flexibility in terms of your learning options. Of course, everyone's different, learning styles are different, people prefer different teaching styles. There's resources, as we mentioned, audio, video, there's live sessions, there's face-to-face sessions, and even on-the-go learning as well. All of these stages that we mentioned on the previous slide are covered, and even things like accommodation for while you're studying in the PLAB 2 Academy, airport pickup, transport to and from the academy, you'll get a UK SIM, you know, all of the little touches that will just reduce the anxiety and the stress of your journey. And it is a stressful journey, moving country, leaving your family behind initially. You know, so it's a stressful time, and this program has been designed by us, taking into account the difficulties that the journey kind of produces, and offering our full support to you throughout. The final slide I'm going to show, which I always show for varying different reasons, depending on the webinar, is the PLAB pass rates for the last 5 years, 2020 all the way through to 2024. The latest data is available. As you can see, PLAB 1, PLAB 2, we get a range of between 25 and 35% of people failing their PLAB exams. Now, we don't have any more qualitative data on this. As far as I'm aware, there may be some work that's done occasionally. Things are done occasionally. I do see on the GMC website, you know, little pieces of little studies and things, and qualitative pieces of work on what happened during the PLAB exams that year, but we don't actually know the reasons why this many international medical graduates fail. However, I can have a good guess. Preparation, resources, mentorship, guidance, balanced preparation, all of these kind of things will be combining to ensure to result in significant numbers of our fellow international medical graduates not passing the PLAB exams. My question is, can we improve these stats? Absolutely, yes, we can. That's what we're here for. That's our purpose. We're here to facilitate. We're here to mentor. We're here to help you guys in fulfilling the your dreams and your wishes for your medical career. That's enough from me. That's quite a lot of talking, and hope you guys found that helpful, not too boring. So I'll hand back over now to Dr. Shakil and the rest of the team to for any comments and to handle the questions. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. This was very comprehensive guidance and awareness for the doctors, all the international medical graduates, and hopefully it will be very useful for them. So as we have been doing this webinar series for a long time, so since last couple of weeks, we have been receiving lots of emails, text messages, WhatsApps. So doctors, they were asking us that if we could compile all their questions and answer in the webinar, so they could watch later on, they could share with other people, their friends and other contacts. So what our admin team has done, they kindly prepare a list of the questions since we have received. So I'm going to answer those questions one by one on this webinar. We'll try to cover as much we could do, but if we could not cover all those questions, because we have got hundreds of questions, some questions they were on social media, some were from the WhatsApp messages, some were on the phone calls. So if we could not cover all the questions, what we'll do, we'll cover remaining questions in our next webinar. So after I've done the question answer session, then we will have Dr. Parvaz, our senior executive member. So he is being international medical graduate, so he is going to share his story and a few words for the international medical graduates. So first question is from Dr. Farhan. He's from Pakistan, and he said he's working as a senior registrar in a hospital at the moment. He's thinking of the PLAB, and he said, is there any age limit for the PLAB? So as far as to date, there is no age limit from the GMC. Anybody who has got a medical degree and who could pass the English test, they could do PLAB exam. There is no age limit for any doctors to take the PLAB. Our second question is came from Dr. Karthik from India, and he's asking, sir, how many PLAB attempts are allowed, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2. So thank you, Karthik. PLAB 1, you have got the 4 attempts. You could take PLAB 1 in 4 attempts, and then Sam for the PLAB 2, you have got 4 attempts. But you must pass your PLAB 2 within 2 years of passing PLAB 1. So PLAB 1 you have got in February, 4 times in a year, February, May, August, and then November. So these are the 4 attempts you have got in the PLAB 1, and you must pass in your 4 attempts. But if you could not pass in 4 attempts, then you need to produce or provide some evidence to GMC to allow you in special circumstances the fifth attempt. And same for the PLAB 2, you have got 4 attempts. If you could not pass it, then you have to provide evidence of the special training or experience you have achieved. So GMC could allow you the fifth attempt, but that is entirely up to the GMC. They could say no, or they could allow you the attempt. So 4 attempts in both exams, but PLAB 2 must be passed within 2 years of passing your PLAB 1. Then we have a question from Dr. Aisha. She's a senior gynecologist and planning to move to UK. She wants to know what's the difference between GMP and other courses. So Aisha, thank you for asking this question. GMP is Global Medics NHS program, and that's what you need. If you're planning to come to the UK, that's what it includes everything. We will do everything for you. You just need to focus on your study. We'll prepare you for your OET exam, English test or IELTS. We'll prepare you for your PLAB 1. We'll get your EPIC registration. We'll help you to book the GMC exam date. We'll help you to create your GMC account. We'll prepare you for PLAB 2. I will give you the sponsorship letter from the academy. We'll pick you up from the airport. We'll arrange your accommodation. We'll arrange your clinical attachment. We'll do your CV, and we'll prepare you for the interview and get your job. Other courses, yes, if you want to do all these individually, but that will be you'll be spending far too much money and time, and that will be waste of your time and money rather than going into the one place and getting everything in one site and peace of mind and peace of security that you'll get everything done. Individually, it will take more of your time. So GMP, one thing, you have got everything under one roof, peace of mind, and safe and secure, and you'll get start working within 1 year in the UK NHS. Then we have got a question from Manisha from India. She's saying, I heard that job is guaranteed after passing my PLAB too. I think in previous webinars we did discuss about myths and misunderstandings of the PLAB. So this is one of the myth. People think that after passing PLAB 2 straight away they get the job. So no, it is not. Passing PLAB 2 is just passing another test, another certificate, and it's piece of paper. Unless you prepare yourself for the after passing the PLAB, you must do your CV. You must have some clinical attachments. You must have some local references. You must have some CBD courses. Your clinical skills, your communication skills, and your dealing with the patient. They should be up to the standard of the local graduate, so that you could compete with them. So passing PLAB 2, it does not guarantee your job, but you must prepare yourself in those things, your CV, your clinical attachment, your local references, your CBT courses, and you must learn from the people who are in the system and who have been teaching, training those people. So it is completely misunderstanding that you will guarantee get job after passing PLAB 2. You must do other things. We have a question from Dr. Nadia from Karachi, Pakistan. She is asking how I will get the accommodation if I come there. So, Nadia, if you're coming through our academy, so there's no issue. We completely, fully guide you, support you. And if you're in the NHS program, then we will arrange your accommodation, so you don't need to worry. Either you're coming single, you want single, shared, and suite accommodation, or you want family accommodation. It's our responsibility to sort out everything. We'll pick you up from the airport, you will get the local SIM, and we will sort out your accommodation. Dr. Asfand from northern areas of Pakistan, he is asking, Sir, I heard life in the UK is very tough. Um, Life in the UK is tough. What should I say about it? Uh, Life is good. Yeah, you need to work hard and you will be rewarded. Whatever you do, like if you're working as a junior doctor, you will be very well paid. When you promote, you move to the next steps. You're a registrar, you're getting much better, and there are millions of benefits. You have safe, secure job, and you get when you're working in NHS, you have got paid annual leave, you have got NHS pension, You have got other discounts, or either you want to get a house or easy mortgage, you want to get a new car, and you have got NHS pension. So you have got millions of benefits working. Your life in the UK, if you ask me, is very good. So don't worry if you're planning to come to the UK. Yeah, we will support and guide you. Dr. Kumar, I'm working as a consultant. I'm 52 years old and I'm planning to come to UK. So where I have to start if I come there? Yeah, if no issue, as I said before, there's no age limit at any stage of your career. You could come to the UK and you can, we will help you to pass PLAB 1, PLAB 2, and then after that, whatever experience you have got, once you're in the system, you could submit your experience to be counted and recognized, and you will get paid accordingly. You can apply from the registrar, and then once if you want to do the MRCP, you can do it, or either your degree is recognized from India where GMC accepts it, then obviously you'll get on the specialist register, so it's no issue. Dr. Tala, he's also from India. He's asking about the total cost. So as we mentioned before, and Dr. Umar mentioned that don't worry, our aim is to make sure you pass your exams. Our aim is to facilitate you throughout the journey, make your journey pleasant and smooth. So we don't talk about the cost. We'll make sure you pass your exams and rest. Whatever you will be spending, that's in your investment in yourself, your career, which you will be earning back within few weeks. So stop worrying about the cost. Get in touch, and we will sort out everything for you. Dr. Sabsan Saji, he is from India as well. He's asking, would you give us any study planner if we register? Yes, of course, Sabsan. All our doctors, once they register, they have got a counseling session. We'll discuss with them everything, what they're doing, what's their availability, if they're working, or if they're free full time, and then we prepare the planner. We set the targets, either they want a 60-day planner, 90-day planner, or 120-day planner. We set a date and we work closely with them. As I said, our aim is to make sure they pass their exam in first attempt. And then we have got Shruti. She is asking what support Hive will provide me if I want to come. So Shruti, rest assured, you will get whatever you need. So our tutors, we are always available 24/7. At times, we feel like we are too much available, but again, as I said, we are here to help you and support you throughout your journey. Being myself an international medical graduate, and being through the system and through the journey, I understand all the concerns, all the worries when somebody is planning to move from their country to the different country. It's not just countries, you have got the emotional strain, you have got financial strain, and you're moving into a different health system. So rest assured, we'll provide you every support and whatever you need, we'll provide you to make your journey and your transition from your country, your healthcare system to UK very smooth and very pleasant. You'll enjoy it. Dr. Nasser from Islamabad, he's asking, is it easy to get the PLAB dates? Somebody saying that no, you can't get the PLAB dates. So uh, you need to plan things very properly. Once you register it, then we help you to prepare the schedule, and then it is easy to get the dates. It's not hard to get the dates if you have proper planning and you are well prepared for the dates. Uh, PLAB 1, as I said, is 4 times in a year, so you have got plenty of time to get the dates. And PLAB 2, there's no issue. PLAB 2 GMC is taking every day in Manchester, where we are based our office, and Manchester GMC Exam Center is just few miles away from our office. Dr. Napinder is from India. He's asking, uh, how would you guide us about the visa, and could I bring my family as well? So, Napinder, yes, yeah, thank you for sending this question. We will completely guide you. Everything we'll tell you about your visa application. We'll sit with you, right, online, and we'll help you to complete your visa application. We'll guide you about the documents, and we will do everything needed to get your visa. We'll give you the sponsorship letter as well. And yes, of course, you could bring your family as well. So once you're applying for the PLAB, you'll get the visit visa. That will be for 6 months. Aim is to pass your exams and get your job within 6 months. And once you get the job, your visa status will change. And after that, you can bring your family here as well. That's no issue at all. Dr. Jalal from Egypt, he's asking what is the PLAB eligibility, and I am graduated from Egypt. Could I come to UK? Yes, Jalal. Yeah, there's no issue as far as your degree, your university is recognized by the GMC and you have got medical degree, that's what you need. Nothing else is required. Rest we will help you to pass your English test, then we'll help you to pass your PLAB 1 and then PLAB 2 you'll take in the UK. And there's no issue at all doing in think we have running out of the time and rest of the questions we could do in the next seminar. So hope these questions are helpful. We have answered all those questions and we'll continue as because lots of our doctors they ask us to answer these questions in the webinar. So I think we will continue this segment in the future of our webinars as well. So this could be people that could watch when you go on our website and you can watch it, all these and listen these are answer to these questions. At the same time, if you have got any further questions, feel free to just drop us a text or in our social media or just email us and we will try our best to answer you. So I will kindly ask now Dr. Pravas, our senior executive member, and to have to say some few words and share a few things with the international medical graduate, a message for the international medical graduates. Over to you, Dr. Pravas. Dr. Pravas, you are mute. You need to unmute yourself.
I picked a few words from this webinar today. PLAB test. Yes, life is full of tests. The other word I picked up is stress. Dr. Umar explained well. Then again, I picked a word, very tough exams. How we can combat this stress to combat with? I would say, let's keep an eye upon the mental health to enjoy the success of the exam. At the same time, we should have good, healthy sleep, healthy diet with good vegetables, good fruits, nuts and water. I simply want to point about if the health is good, stress-free, relax, more chances of success. I wish you all the best. Good luck.
That's very useful and very wise advice for all the students, doctors who are planning to come to the UK or who are planning to do any exams or anything. This is very healthy, wise advice. So we don't have any other questions. I think we're going to conclude today's session, and I would say that stay tuned for our next webinar, and we'll catch up soon. Unless anybody else has got any questions. Oh, so thank you so much, Dr. Prabhat. Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. Thank you, Asma. And thank you, Fatma. Thank you, Satpreet, and everyone else. So hope to see you in the next session. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.